What's going on, guys? This is Damien from The Lookout and welcome to Learn to Play Dragon Ball Card Game Masters, or as it's currently known as Dragon Ball Super Card Game, in 20 minutes. This is your ultimate beginner's guide to the game. So if you're someone who's completely new to the game, or maybe you just saw this product somewhere and you wish to learn how to play it and you know absolutely nothing, this is the guide that's gonna get you going. And without further ado, roll the video! As with all of our videos, let's start with the breakdown. So in this video, I'm gonna show you the essential rules, the basics. We'll go over card types, skills and interactions, where to start. Now that you know everything, you need to know where to start. And finally, we'll wrap it up with the summary. Let's go! Let's start with the bare bones basics. So in order to play, you will need the following. One 50 to 60 cards deck, excluding the leader, so your deck needs to be minimum 50 cards plus the leader. One leader card, only one. One up to 15 cards sideboard, and one up to 7 cards Z-deck. That's it. That's everything that you need to play the game. Continuing with the basics, you start the game at 8 lives. I will explain this very soon. When you drop to 0, you lose. Your starting hand is 6 cards and the winner of a die roll goes first. Let's see what the starting turn looks like. Here is how every game begins. Step 1. Both players roll a die to see who's gonna go first. The winner of the roll goes first. Step 2. Both players draw 6 cards. Then each player can mulligan by returning any number of cards back into their deck and then drawing until they have 6 cards in their hand. And step 3, both players put the top 8 cards from the top of their deck into their lives. That's it. That's what you need to know for now. And finally, very important, the player who goes first doesn't draw at the start of their first turn and they can't attack that turn. That's it for now. Let's explore card types. Let's talk about card types. So there are 4 different types of cards in the game. Leader, Battle, Extra, and Unison. You also have a Z version of the Leader, Battle, and Extra. We will talk about them later. For now, let's focus on exploring each of these card types. Starting off with the Leader, the most important card in the deck. If you're coming from Magic, for example, this is your commander. You can see the Leader tag on the top right corner. Then you have its name, its traits. I will explain them a bit later. You can see that his power is 10k. And he also has an awakening condition. We will go over it a bit more in depth right now. The leader is your main character and each leader is 1 out of 5 colors. There are exceptions, but they're not important for this video. Leaders have 2 sides. The front side, the one that you started the game with, and the more powerful awakened side, the back side. You flip your leader to its backside when you meet the awakened condition, which is, for example, 4 lives or less. Or maybe have 2 energies and a battle card in play. Finally, when your leader takes damage, you lose a life. When you lose all of your lives, you lose the game. More essential rules. So, you start the game with the leader already in play on his front side. You can only have 1 leader card. The color of your leader doesn't determine the color of your deck. So you can play a blue leader and have all of your cards in the deck be red, if you wish to do so. And finally, leaders can't be removed from the game in any way. They can't be KO'd, returned to hand or anything. They just stick around until the very end. Next up are battle cards. Now you can immediately tell that these are a bit different. This one has a cost on the top left corner and it also has something called combo power. Other than that, it's pretty much the same. It has power, it has its effect, trait, and the indicator in the top right corner that this is a battle card. Battle cards are used for battle, basically. You know, they're like your creatures, your minions, your monsters in other games. You can have up to 4 copies of the same battle card, though there are rare exceptions, but these are super rare. Each battle card has an energy cost, which you need to pay in order to play it, like this Piccolo costs 4. More on that part a bit later when we go over energies, Battle cards are played in the battle area, and finally all of them have combo power. A bit more about battle cards. There is no limit to how many battle cards you can have in play at the same time. If you can pay and play 20 of them, you can have 20 of them in play. When a battle card is KO'd or removed from play in any way, you don't lose lives. You only lose lives when your leader takes damage. You can only combo with battle cards because they are the only cards in the game which have combo power. And finally, you don't start the game with them in play. You play them during the game. Next up are extra cards. So similar to battle cards, they have a cost and they have an indicator that they're extra cards, but they don't have anything else. They just have the skill. No combo power, no power at all, no traits, nothing. So what kind of cards are these extra cards? You can compare them to spell cards or trainer cards from other games, depending on the game that you're coming from. They're often a single cost, single use cards. There are exceptions, of course. You can have up to 4 of the same extra card in your deck, and in order to play them, you need to pay their energy cost. Of course, exceptions exist. So you pay the cost, you get a single one-time effect, and then they go to the drop area. Some other info that is important to know is that extra cards aren't played, they are activated. It's just a wording difference, but it might matter in some cases. After you play them and their effect goes off, they go straight into your drop area. They're just discarded. They're gone. The rare extra cards which remain permanently in play are placed in your battle area. So there are some which you can play and they will stay on the field. These go to your battle area. Last type of card is the Unison card. Now Unison has its cost. It has the indicator that it is a Unison card, and it has power. And that's it, but it also has like these strange pluses and minuses. Let's go over them. If you're coming from Magic, Unisons are quite literally planeswalkers, like copy-paste. So congratulations, you know how to play Unisons. They're played in the Unison area, and you can only have one Unison in play at the same time. They all cost X and have a minimum cost as well, like this Gohan costs X, but the minimum cost is free, and they enter play with markers on them. When the Unison takes damage, it loses a marker. When it drops to 0 markers, it dies. Like with all other cards, you can have only up to 4 copies of the same Unison in your deck. They enter the game with X markers, where X is the amount of energy spent to play them. So like Gohan enters with 3, but if you pay 5, he enters with 5. When attacking your opponent, if they have a Unison in play, you can choose to attack the Unison instead. This is done quite often just to keep them in check. And Unisons can also attack because they have power. And when they are attacking, you can combo during the attack. More on combo very soon, I promise. But you can't combo when they are being attacked. You can't do that in defense. Now let's quickly explain how energy works. Now that you know the card types, it's time to explain energy. Energy is used to pay the cost of your cards and or their abilities. It might seem very difficult to figure out, but it's actually extremely easy once you get a hang of it. Let's go! As you have seen in our previous section, every non-leader card in the game has an energy cost. In the top left corner, this Piccolo, for example, costs a total of 4 energy to play. Essentially, in order to play him, we need to spend 4 energy. Now, how do we get it? Each turn we get 1 energy, and this is called charging an energy. This is the most difficult part, so let's slowly go over it. Here is how charging energy works. So at the start of your turn, you choose 1 card from your hand and you put it into your energy area untapped, aka in active mode. And then you tap it, aka switch it to rest mode, to create an energy, a single energy, of the same color as that card. So red card, red energy, blue card, blue energy. These energy cards, once rested, remain like that until the start of your next turn. Energy cards are just stuck there. So when you're charging, make sure to carefully choose which cards you're charging, because you're usually not getting them back. I know that this might sound confusing, so here's an example. Let's play a 1-cost Kakarot. He costs 1 yellow. So at the start of your turn, there's something that's called charge phase. And let's say you charge this yellow Son Gohan in active mode into your energy. Now it's time to play Kakarot. You switch Gohan To rest mode, he gives you 1 energy and then you spend that energy to play Kakarot untapped, aka inactive mode. What is important to know is that you can only gain energy when you want to play a card and you must spend it then. You can't just tap it and let it float for later. You can't save the created energy. That's what I'm telling you. You don't need to gain all of your energy at once, so you don't need to immediately tap all 5 and use it. You can do it gradually through your turn. The last important thing to know is that you don't need to spend all of your energy immediately. You can spend it however you want. So let's say that you have free energy. You can spend 1 to play Kakarot, attack with Kakarot, and then maybe you want to attack with your leader, and then you have 2 energy remaining. Then you can spend it to play a card which costs 2, or 2 cards which cost 1, in whichever combination. Basically, you can spend your energy in any order that you wish to do it. The last thing that you need to know is what does this little circle mean. It's called a specified energy cost. Piccolo has 1, some cards have more than 1. This basically means the amount of energy of a certain color that you need to pay to play Piccolo. So you need to pay 4 to play him, but 1 of them needs to be red. The other 3 can be of any color. And that's it. It just shows you how many energy of a specific color do you need to pay in order to play a card. In this section we will explain combat. Fighting is at the heart of the game, at the heart of Dragon Ball, and it all revolves around power. Don't worry, this part is easier than energy, it's super easy. Once we go through it, you will have full understanding of how it works. This part is extremely simple. See the circle at the bottom? It's called power. Power is both your attack and health at the same time. And when one card attacks the other, the card with higher power wins the combat. If the power is tied between the cards, the attacking card wins. Now let's briefly explain combo power. In every battle there is a combo step. The attacking player always combos first, and when he's done comboing, the defending player tries to out-combo him. Comboing is basically increasing the power of your card temporarily for that one battle. And to combo with a card from your hand, you put it into what's called combo area, and then it goes into your drop after the battle is done. Krillin has a combo cost of 0, that's what 0 means, and he adds plus 5k to the power of the attacking or the defending card. This basically means that in order to combo with Krillin, you can do it for free because the cost is 0, and then you add plus 5k to the power of your attacking or defending card, and after the battle, Krillin goes into your drop and the power of the card returns back to normal. I know it sounds a bit confusing, so here's an example to show you how this works. Kakarot has power of 10,000 and he's attacking a leader with a power of 15k. How does this work now? Well, Kakarot attacks the leader. The leader has 15k. And now, as the attacker, you combo first. You combo for free with Krillin from your hand, and now your Kakarot is 15k for the battle. And because his power is tied to the leader loses and takes damage. In order to attack with a card, you need to switch it from active mode to rest mode. You can see this here. You can only attack with cards in active mode. Once that they are switched to rest mode, they remain like that until the start of your next turn, unless something switches them back to active mode. Skills like dual attack or some other abilities. Keep in mind that if a card is switched back to active mode in any way during your turn, it can attack again, unless there's something stopping it. I know that it can be a bit confusing, so I made you a reference sheet of attacker versus defender. So power higher, defender is KO'd, or if it's a leader, they lose a life, or if it's a unison, they lose a marker. If it's equal power, then once again the attacker is the winner, and if it's lower power, the attack just fails. No one is KO'd, no one takes damage. So if the defender has higher power, the attacker just remains tapped, and that's it. There's nothing else that's happening. The last things to know are that some cards have a combo cost, which is usually 1, which you need to pay in order to combo with them, and then they give you like 10,000, for example. You can combo with battle cards that you already have in play as long as they are in active mode. Then you place them into your combo area, and at the end of the attack, they go into your drop. So you sacrifice them for temporary power. The attacking player always combos first, then the defending player combos, and after that there are no more combos. Now it's a perfect time to explain Z cards. Each card type except Unison for now has its Z counterpart. You build your own Z deck. It's up to 7 Z cards and it's like an extension of your hand. If you've played Yu-Gi-Oh, it's basically like an extra deck. These cards have Z energy cost to play. So for example, this Beerus costs 2 blue energy and 2 Z energy. Z energy is always colorless. At the end of the combo step, you can choose one card from your combo area and charge it into your Z energy instead of sending it to the drop, and then you use it to pay the Z energy cost of your Z cards. Couple of essential things to know. The spent Z energy goes into a drop area. It's only temporary energy. Once you use it to play a Z card, it goes away. If a Z card would leave the battle area in any way, it is removed from the game instead. All other rules which apply to normal counterparts, like to normal leaders or to normal battle cards, also apply to their Z counterparts. It doesn't matter that they are Z cards. All effects still apply to them. And lastly, you can't combo with them as you can see, they don't have combo power. Now let's talk about skills. There's a whole bunch of skills in the game, but for someone just coming in, these are the most common ones that you must know. Double or triple strike, deal 2 or 3 damage instead of 1. Double or triple attack, attack 2 or 3 times instead of once. Critical, when you deal damage to your opponent, life goes into the drop instead into their hand. Barrier, opponent can't target this with effects. Deflect, this card is unaffected by counterplay skills, more on them very soon. And finally, blocker, you switch card from active to rest mode and it becomes the target of the attack. In orange text boxes we have activate main. This effect can only be used during your turn and only outside of combat, while activate battle is an effect which can be used on either player's turn but only during combat. You also have counterplay, which means that this effect can only be used when your opponent plays a battle card, and we also have counterattack. This effect can only be used when your opponent attacks with anything. There's going to be a bit of confusion about counters. Let's explain them. The most important thing to know is that the name counter is just that, a name. It doesn't really stop things. The name just means when can you use these skills. Counterattack, for example, only stops the attack if it has the line negate the attack somewhere in its ability. Counterattack also always comes first. So first you get the opportunity to counter the attack, and then if you don't counter, you can combo or use activate battle skills. But if the attack is negated, none of this happens. You can't combo, you can't use activate battle. That's essentially counters. We also have auto. This effect triggers automatically when certain conditions are met. For example, auto when this card attacks, draw a card. Permanent, the effect is always active. And we have some limitations. Once per turn. This means that the skill can only be used once per turn and it triggers on the first possible occasion. Let's say auto once per turn when an opponent plays a battle card, draw 1. That's the first possible occasion. You need to use this skill now. If you don't use it, you can't use it anymore for the turn. And even if you use it or not, that's it. It triggered, nothing more for the turn from that skill. And you also have limit 1, which is basically the same. You can use it once per turn, but also across all copies of the same card. So if you have 4 cards with the same skill and they have limit 1, only 1 triggers, and that's it. It is also important to mention that skills have an additional cost. Some of them, usually the ones in the orange. So for example, this Piccolo has activate main limit 1 for 1 red energy plus other stuff. You can play him. So instead of paying 4 if you meet the requirements and you pay 1 red energy, you can use his activate main skill to cheat him into the game. That's usually how you play cards. You rarely pay the actual cost for them. The cost for skills is always located after the type of skill and before the colon sign. The last skill that we need to talk about is called Overwhelm. It's exclusive to black, and this means that once per turn, a card with Overwhelm can be played completely for free by sending your entire drop to the warp area. This is like exile in Magic. The number next to the effect, like this Goku has overwhelm 5, that means that you need to have a minimum of 5 cards in your drop to even use the skill. If you have 3, you can't use it. If you have like 30, you can use it. And the last thing to know is that all realm cards are sent to your warp at the end of the turn, so they're just temporary. We have been talking about various game areas, so let's explain them. You have the following areas. Energy area, this is where you put your energy. Battle area, self-explanatory, where you put your battle cards. Combo area, where you put cards during a combo. Drop area, this is basically your graveyard. Warp area, it's like removed from the game but not really. It's like an additional drop area. Z energy area, where you put your Z energy. Leader area, where you put your leader. And finally, unison area, where you put your unison. And of course, here is an image of what this looks like in practice. Finally, let's talk about turn structure. You have the following 3 phases. Charge phase, your turn starts, you switch all cards to active mode, you draw 1, and then you charge an energy from your hand. You also have the main phase. Here you do everything. You play cards, you attack, and you use your activate main skills. And finally, end phase, end of the turn checkpoint occurs and your turn ends. There is of course much more to this, so I am linking the official rules in the description below. The last thing to mention are the 5 colors. Red is aggro and it can minus the power of your opponent's cards. If the power of a battle card drops to 0, it goes to the drop. Blue is ramp and energy manipulation. Yellow is hard control, you're negating skills, you're switching cards to rest mode, you're doing a lot of god-awful stuff. Green is hand and board control, discard effects and removal, plus green is the best at fighting unisons. And finally, black is drop/warp manipulation and free plays, and its own unique thing is overwhelm. So yeah, that's everything. Congratulations, you have learned the Dragon Ball Masters in 20 minutes or so, and now you're asking yourself where to start. Well, starter decks are the best entry point for new players. They're designed for new players. Guys, just go to your store and ask the store owner for some starter decks. Just try to get Zenkai series onwards. Don't get Unison Warrior ones, they are super old by this point. If you wish to buy booster boxes, you always buy the latest set because the game is heavily archetype locked. Each set comes with about 8 to 9 archetypes and all cards for the archetype are in the set. So if you wish to play something new, you only need to buy booster boxes from the newest set. You don't need to buy the old ones. If you wish to learn how to play specific archetypes and decks, welcome to the Lookout. We have the most detailed guides, much more detailed than this, for playing most of the archetypes in the game. Check them out, the playlist is in the description below. And finally, there are a lot of Discords with webcam locals. Links are also in the description below. Jump in, say hi, the community is awesome and someone will always be there, hopefully always be there, to play a couple of friendly games with you. Hungry for more? Looking for more Dragon Ball content? Well then subscribe to us, to The Lookout. Here at The Lookout we cover pretty much everything there is for this game and the upcoming Fusion World game. If you have, for example, rules questions, we have rules videos to help you out. If you're looking to learn how to play specific archetypes, we have the best how to play guides for different decks. We also have competitive deck profiles, we have data analysis, we have event breakdowns, and on top of everything, we're also bringing you couple of weekends per month official live streams of almost every competitive event in the world from various regions like Asia, Oceania, Europe, Latin America, you name it. And the last thing that I wish to mention here is, if this video caught your attention and you wish to try out a Dragon Ball Masters or Dragon Ball Super card game, welcome to the best card game in the world. This is Damien from The Lookout and I hope that you enjoy your stay. That's it for the video. Let me know in the comments below. Are you hyped to play Dragon Ball Super card game? Has this video helped you learn the rules of the game? Has this video convinced you to try the game out? let me know in the comments, and especially if you're a new player, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Just leave a comment. I read all of your comments. I try to respond to everything. I love our little community. And you know, while you're here, click those like and subscribe buttons. We are on our way to 4,000 subscribers, and we do so much Dragon Ball Super content. You're never gonna be content starved. I promise you that. This has been Damien from The Lookout, and I'll see all of you in the next video.